A very good day to everyone. My name is Pirugaladan Thirunakarsu, and in this video, my group will present our magazine on the topic Graduate Attributes. Let me introduce the other group members: Muhammad Hassan Kayum Khan, Muhammad Daniel bin Marsum, and Hari Tamrikanan. So people, what is graduate attributes? Graduate attributes is basically the high-level qualities, skills, and understandings that a student should gain as a result of the learning and experiences they engage with while at university. So these attributes are what set them apart from those without a degree, as the added value which graduates can enjoy and share with employers and the wider community. They equip students with lifelong personal development, lifelong learning, and they also make students successful in the society. So now let's look into the content of our magazine. So in this magazine, we will explain about 4 chosen graduate attributes, which are thinking skills, adaptability, communication skills, as well as leadership and team working skills. Let's look at the first topic: unlock your thinking skills. So what is thinking skills? Thinking skills are the process of thinking that we make use of while solving problems, which includes cognitive and strategic thinking to receive and make connection between information, make decisions, and create new ideas. So we all face problems in our daily life, right? So the first step once we face a problem is thinking how to solve the problem. So the method we use while thinking is very crucial, especially when it comes to solving more complicated problems. Hence, these thinking skills are important. So to be more specific, the thinking skills we are talking about is critical thinking skills. So critical thinking skill is basically our ability to pass through information, data, statistics, and other details in order to identify a satisfactory solution. So there are many types of critical thinking skills. Before looking into them, let us look at an interesting fact here. So I think most of us might know about this. There is no such thing as the right answer. So when there is a challenge or problem, people used to find solutions. Most people used to find only one solution, which actually limits our perspective and makes us settle for subpar ideas. So not all problems are mathematical problems, which only needs one solution, because even in engineering, an alternative solution is always needed for technological revolution. So we should always be a creative thinker and always find a more creative solution. Even when we have a solution, we should find more creative and better solutions for a problem. So this is very important for improvements. So there are 6 core critical thinking skills here, which are analytical thinking, open-mindedness, problem solving, self-regulation, observation, and interpretation. Analytical thinking is the ability to tackle complicated issues by evaluating information we've gathered. So for example, when given a topic, it will be easier for us to elaborate on the topic when we break it down into a few subtopics. So in that way, we get more details and more information about the topic. So that is why we should analyze and we should execute analytical thinking here. The next one is open-mindedness. Open-mindedness is the willingness to search actively for evidence against one's favorite beliefs, plans, or goals, and receptive to wide varieties of ideas. So it is also the um, willingness to try new things or hear and consider ideas from others, new ideas with an open mind. So this is important for us to gain knowledge because it wouldn't limit us to only our own idea. So next one is problem solving. Problem solving is a skill that helps us determine the source of a problem and find an effective solution. So this is the basic when it comes to problem solving, finding out and why an issue is happening, and how to resolve it as is always the basic. So one of these skills, this problem solving is one of the skills that employers seek in job applicants. Next one is self-regulation. Self-regulation is the self-directive process through which learners transform their mental abilities into task-related skills. So this is a method that learners use to organize their thoughts and convert them into skills they use for learning. So in order to obtain this type of a skill, self-regulation, we should always self-monitor. We can self-talk. We can monitor ourselves. We can guide ourselves while executing a task. We can set a goal. So these type of behaviors will always help us in obtaining this skill, and it is very helpful for us to have a critical thinking skill. So next one is observation. Observation, as everyone knows, it is the ability to notice subtle details that allow us to maneuver situations more tactfully. So this practice encourages us to be present and aware of the details in our life. So last but not least, interpretation. Interpretation is the ability to understand the information processed and communicate the meaning of that information to others. So only if we are able to convey the meaning of what we get to know or what we've learned to the others in a way that they understand, which it shows that we understand the situation very well. So I hope from this you can understand why critical thinking skill is very important. Lacking such skills might even break a person's career, because the consequences of one's inability to process and analyze information effectively can be very massive. So the following graduate attributes will be presented by the other group members.
Hi guys, my name is Mohammed and I'll be talking about why you need to be more adaptable. What is adaptability, you might ask? Well, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, it's an ability or willingness to change in order to suit different conditions. In other words, it means being open to change or new ideas. Let me give you an example. Take water for an example, and take a rock. A rock is a rigid object, it doesn't change its shape no matter what you do. But water, if you put it into a cup, it takes the shape of the cup. If you put it into a different shape container, it takes the shape of that container. Basically, water is very adaptable. It can adapt to any kind of change. Whereas the rock, it's rigid and it never changes no matter what the condition is. So let's move forward. Adaptability is one of the top skills that is desired by every organization, because it allows you to conform to your environment more easily and work with people with different skill sets and be comfortable in that environment. Adaptability is the skill that can only be obtained by change of mind. Basically, you cannot go get some consultation or get education to become more adaptable. Basically, there is one way to become more adaptable, and that is to move out of your comfort zone. Basically, if you are shy to speak in public, you should go and speak in public. If you're shy to do something in a team, you should go and work and get out of your comfort zone. That's the only way you can become more adaptable. Now, moving to the next slide, I'm going to discuss some of the benefits about adaptability. As stated earlier, adaptability is the most sought after skill by employers, because it allows you to conform to your environment more easily and complete upon the job requirements and work with other people at the same time. This also allows you to become a better team leader, because you can work with what you have rather than requesting ideal situations. A best team leader always takes his team together and leads them in order to complete the task in the most efficient way possible. Another benefit about adaptability is to work in a team. If you're more adaptable, people will find it easier to work with you rather than being uncomfortable and having issues in some way or another. Basically, being adaptable allows you to work with what you have, with the limited time or whatever resources you have, rather than asking for or looking for ideal situations, which usually never happens in a work environment. And last but not least, adaptability gives you a healthy state of mind. Since you are not bothered by other people's action and you are okay with what you have, you don't care about what you don't have. Basically, you look at life or all your things as a cup half full rather than half empty. So that's one of the biggest positives about adaptability, and I hope you learned something about it today.
Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Dijan, and now I will share to you about communication skills and some useful tips that you can use to improve them. So let's start with the definition. So the word communication means to share is the act of sharing ideas, emotions and feelings between two or more people. As a general phenomenon, we are aware of the necessity for and value of communication. These skills in communication are essential in all aspects of one life. So wherever there is life, there are also communications. So it means that communication skills is one of the most important traits that you have to master in order to survive, especially in the industry. There's a quote by Max K. Pizizuski, as we know as Coach K. He said that effective teamwork begins and ends with communication. So how can I communicate in the best and most professional way possible? So one thing you need to note is that we need both of the communication need to have a shared meaning. So there are specific things that you can do that can improve these skills. So first is listen and listen. You really need to listen to what the other person is saying instead of formulating your response. Next is body language matters. So what does it mean? You need to keep an eye contact, include hand gestures in your communication, and never cross your arms because they will consider yourself rude to other people. Next is be brief and specific. You just need to provide enough information for other person to understand on what you are trying to say. Don't just say in a long sentence that in the end people didn't understand any of what you say. Next is who you are talking to matters. Never use acronyms or any formal language during formal meetings, presentation or emails, especially when you have been a formal event with the higher authority, and you need to use formal language. Next is think before you speak. Take a moment and pay close attention on what you say and how you say it. You need to plan earlier on what you will say, especially in a speech or in a presentation. Next is treat everyone equally. Treat everyone with respect. Treat others as equal. Never talk down anyone. Even though you are a higher authority, you are like a boss, you really need to respect everybody. Treat everybody equal, especially in the communication. And lastly is maintain a positive attitude and smile. The smile you make to other person will show the other people first impression of yourself, so that anything else after that will become more smooth especially when you communicate. So last thing I want to say is the art of communication is the language of leadership.
Hi, my name is Hari, and I will be presenting the leadership and teamworking skills segment of the magazine. So let's start off with a quote from the late Steve Jobs, the owner of Apple and the founder of Apple. Great things in business are never done by one person, they're done by a team of people. And this is where he enunciates the importance and the magic of teamwork. On the next page, it starts off with a famous quote, which I'm sure everybody knows. Teamwork makes the dream work. And I agree with that quote a lot. And we have two paragraphs here, which is a brief introduction to the dynamic that is teamworking and leadership skills. The symbiotic relationship between leadership and teamwork can be hardly overemphasized. In an increasingly knowledge-intensive world, the most competent leader could be staring at the face of failure if the team that is led fails to measure up to the leader's objectives and gets derailed. Indeed, teams can be rudderless without effective and wise leadership. There has been significant debate as to the styles and characteristics of leadership that engender optimal team performance. Similarly, the constituents of teams that are remarkably effective have been studied and emulated. Obviously, leadership and teamwork cannot exist without each other, as they have to be balanced, coordinated, and synergized for optimal organizational performance toward successful outcomes. Leadership and teamwork are the warp and woof of the dynamic fabric of organizations. One cannot exist without the other in an organizational environment activated by a constellation of teams. These teams are essentially temporary organizations with specific objectives, resource, and timeframes. This is because both the tactical objectives and strategic goals of the organization are accomplished largely through team effort, and this cannot happen by accident. Both leadership and teamwork are driven by critical soft skills that need to be exercised prudently and in a balanced manner. This balance between leadership and teamwork is imperative to ensure that both are executed not only in tandem as two sides of the same coin, but with symbiosis as they draw inspiration for success from each other. Poor leadership cannot pull a motivational team to success. So now that we have seen how leadership skills and teamworking skills are hand in hand with each other and how they are so important and how they always come together, now let's see what is the difference between leadership and teamwork and how do we extinguish them and what is the difference and how do they work in a team. So this can be explained in four parts where there is individual, group, collaboration, and motivation. So let's look at individual first. Leadership typically relates to an individual's ability to inspire, direct, and set an example for others to follow. Successful business organizations rely on impacting leaders who formulate visions and then guide others in accomplishing tasks that contribute toward the realization of that vision and accomplishment of goals. Leaders may have a formal management or supervisory roles or may rise up informally within a work group. This basically means that leaders are people who are someone who can guide, who can direct, who can manage the flow of the team. Uh, they know the direction of where the team should head, and they don't. And sometimes they could be specifically chosen to lead a team of members, or they can rise up from a group of people working together who has the characteristics to lead them. Next, let's look at the group. A key quality of teamwork is the emphasis on the contributions towards a collective group effort. While leadership is about guiding others, teamwork is about fulfilling one's formal and informal commitments toward team objectives. An attitude of teamwork doesn't require that you assert yourself as a leader or distinct team member. You simply contribute your part in achieving group's goals. So basically, it's saying that teamwork isn't does regardless of your position as a leader or as a regular member, no matter what. Teamwork is you yourself having your responsibility and having the mindset to contribute as much as you can towards the group to achieve its goals and to complete its tasks. Next, let's look at motivation. And motivation is one of the key features of a successful group and teamwork. A primary function of leadership is motivation. This is partly what separates someone within a work group or team from others who display teamwork. Leaders have personal qualities such as charisma, empathy, and influence that get others to aspire to optimum levels of performance. Within a team, leadership is often required to create synergy, which is the intangible ability of a group to achieve more than the collection of individuals on their own. So motivation is an important task of a leader to bring forward to a group where leaders usually have the qualities such as charisma, empathy, and influence, and they have the ability to keep the morale up in the group, to keep the motivation going. As a group or a team without motivation or morale cannot work as efficiently as a group that is motivated to completing the task at hand. Next, we can look at collaboration. Whereas leadership is about motivation, teamwork emphasizes collaboration. It is an awareness that for the team to perform optimally, every member must portray an attitude of cooperation. In some teams, work is sequential, meaning that each person's efforts are necessary to keep the project moving toward completion. Such as, whereas, for example, only when member A completes his work, so then member B can continue with his work. So this is a sequential manner where everyone, without member A completing his work, the workflow cannot keep on going. And in other cases, teamwork is more about sharing ideas and offering input and work during project discussions and task completions. I think this point was pretty straightforward and doesn't need much explanation. So, this is how we differentiate between leadership and teamwork. And no matter what, in every team, in every group, in every organization, we need leadership and we need teamwork. Regardless of who is the leader, who is the team worker, it is definitely needed hand in hand. And as said earlier, there are definitely two sides of the same coin. This is all from me. Thank you.
In conclusion, the success of successful students in the industry whom universities are marketing today is measured using their graduate attributes. So this shows us how much importance is given to graduate attributes for a student to succeed in his or her life. So as undergraduate students, we should recognize the skills and mindset we already have and how they can be used now and also in the future. So we should know that university is the place we can seek out for opportunities to develop our unique set of attributes. So as stated here, there are more graduate attributes which are not explained in this magazine, such as scholarship, global citizen, enterprising skills, and many more. So how to obtain these graduate attributes? Besides focusing on curriculum and scoring in good grades in the assessments, we should also take part in many extracurricular activities such as in clubs, societies, sports, and many more, where we can develop experience beyond our program of study. And we can also become representative, student representative, and we can grab volunteering opportunities where we can develop skills like leadership skills. So the famous Austrian American educator Peter Drucker once said that the best way to predict the future is to create it, which is indeed true. So to create a bright future that we expect, we should also give lots of importance to graduate attributes while still at university. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you like it.